Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, which features a puzzle based on one of my favourite things, Fawlty Towers. Now, I'm sure most of you will be very familiar with the BBC sitcom from the 1970s, but if any of you haven't heard of it or seen it, you need to. It is one of the funniest things you will ever see in your life, and created by one of the funniest men there has ever been, in my opinion, John Cleese, of course. Anyway, this puzzle was actually created as a tribute to John Cleese by Peter C Hayward, who has appeared on the channel before. It sets great puzzles, and I realised that Peter was a John Cleese fan. When I hope Peter won't mind me relaying this story, but Peter was on a Zoom call with Mark and me, and he announced that he may have to leave the call at short notice because he was about to meet John Cleese. And we were like, what do you mean you're about to meet John Cleese? And Peter basically had availed himself of one of these marvellous fan websites out there where you can sort of book a slot to speak to one of these megastars. And Peter was due to meet John Cleese, and indeed he did meet John Cleese. And I think, in fact, if I remember, I will put a link under the video to Peter's meeting with John Cleese because he has published it. Now, something you may not know is that John Cleese is a big fan of Sudoku. He is on record as enjoying Sudoku, and so Peter created a series of puzzles basically themed around John Cleese moments. So there's sort of Silly Walk Sudoku, there's a Monty Python themed one which has a snake in it, and there is this one, which is apparently the hardest of the set. I know that Peter sent all of these Sudokus to John Cleese, or at least to his agent, so I'm actually hoping John Cleese has seen this puzzle but has never managed to solve it, so there's just a chance he might watch one of our videos, which would be absolutely amazing. And Mr. Cleese, if you do watch this video, The Meaning of Life is my favourite Monty Python film, and A Fish Called Wanda is a work of sublime genius, and as well as Fawlty Towers, I need to thank you for all of these absolutely amazing comedic creations. Now, anyway, that's enough of that. Let me get on to the rules of this puzzle. Now, these rules are a bit of a head scratcher. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. Additionally, there are 9 towers. Digits in each tower sum to the number shown below it. Digits in each tower increase in value from bottom to top, except 2 of the towers are faulty and do not increase in value, while another 5 towers do not sum to the given number. No tower is faulty in both ways. So, first thing to say is, what an idea. I mean, if you're a fan of Fawlty Towers, to construct a Sudoku around towers that are faulty, it just appeals to my sense of humour. And yeah, I really admire that, but I have to say, I'm not really sure how I'm going to go about solving it. So the way to play the puzzle, if you'd like to, and I definitely recommend it, is to click the link under the video as usual. And with that, let's get cracking. So, firstly, in getting cracking, I'm going to try and get these rules straight in my head. So we've got, what have we got? We've got, in theory, each of these is a thermometer, i.e., a bulb at the bottom, and then going up towards the highest digit at the top, except that 2 of the towers are faulty. So two of these towers are not thermometers, but that means 7 of the towers are thermometers. So that's quite a restriction, actually. And then 5 towers do not sum to the given number. That means 4 do sum to the given number. And no tower is faulty in both ways. Right. So the thing I'm thinking I might do to start with, some of these thermometers are quite long, and it doesn't matter what their total is. They're definitely going to be restricted if they are genuinely a thermometer, because, for example, if this is genuinely an 8-cell thermometer, it doesn't matter what this total is. This digit can only be a 1 or a 2, because if we put 3 into it, and this is a real thermometer, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that would be broken. So if this is real, this would have to be a 1 or a 2. Now, there are a lot. Yeah, look, we've got 3 7-cell thermometers. So those 3 thermometers would each have to have a 3 at most in their bottom position. So, this is interesting. So if you can see that as well, that if this was a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, broken. So these 4 thermometers here cannot coexist in the puzzle. Or to put it another way, they can't all be real thermometers. At least one of them must be broken, because we can't put the digits 1, 2, and 3 into 4 different cells. Obviously, we'd have to repeat one of them. So we know one of these thermometers, at least, is broken. Which I'm not really sure how to use that. That seems like it's a restriction that's worth noting, but I don't actually, without actually knowing which of them it is, I'm not sure how to take it further. Right. No, but let's look at these two long thermometers in column 7. Yeah, here's some logic. Here is some logic. So let's ignore, shall we ignore what I've put in the bottom? No, we won't, but the key thing to think about, I think, is these 2 cells. Now, what's the maximum possible value of these 2 cells? Now, you can see, if we look above these 2 cells, along the thermometer, this one has 5 cells above it. This one has 4 cells above it. So the maximum value in either of those squares is 5, because there are 4 cells at least above the 5 on both thermometers. In fact, I mean, this can't even be a 5. This could only be a 4. Oh no, yeah, it could 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 broken. So, but if these have a maximum value of 5, that means these 6 cells have to contain the digits 1 to 5. Well, that's not going to work. So these can't both be thermometers. So one of these, now this is good and bad. If one of these is a broken, one of these at least is a broken thermometer. But that doesn't really help us with this quadruple along the bottom. Knowing that one of these is broken, well, that might be all we were going to get out of this anyway. But at least we know something. So we know that there are 7 correct thermometers, and one of the broken thermometers must be, at least one of them actually, must be in one of those 2 cells. Or one of these 2 columns. Towers, I should call them. Fawlty towers. Yeah, one of the Fawlty towers is in column 7 or column 9. And perhaps 2 of them. Now. So maybe I'm meant to use the totals. So 42. So if this total was correct, this square would be a 3. And we know that because the total for any column in a Sudoku, if you add up all the digits from 1 to 9, is 45. So if this total is correct for this tower, in order to get up to 45, we'd have to add a 3 to the 42. Now, okay, this is interesting as well, isn't it? So look at this square. If this is a correct total, then again, we've got 41 in these 7 cells, so these 2 cells would have to add up to 4. So they would have to be 1-3 pair. Now this is good. This is interesting, because this means it's not possible that both... Yeah, okay, so not only is it not possible that both of these totals are correct, and it's definitely true to say they are not both correct, because if they are both correct, there would be a repeated 3 in box 3. It's also true to say that because a tower cannot both be a faulty thermometer and have a bad sum, one of these towers has an incorrect total and one of them is a broken thermometer, but exactly one of them. So they aren't both one thing or the other. So one of them is a faulty total, one of them is a faulty thermometer, and that's it, which means one of them is a correct total, which means there is a 3 in one of those 3 squares, and one of them is a correct thermometer. But we don't know which one, and I'm not sure I can deduce much from knowing that one of them is real. Wow, this is very interesting already. Now, what? The problem with the 3 clue is it's so... I mean, obviously, if it was a true total, that would have to be a 1-2 pair. And then this square would have no value at all. Well, but one of them's wrong, so yeah, these 1, 2, 3s are getting confusing. Actually, I'm going to delete them. They're going to mislead me. Now, sorry about this. I am I'm struggling a bit to see how I'm meant to differentiate. So at the moment, I know one of the broken thermometers. Oh, now. I have a breakthrough. Well, at least I've got something. Where does 9 go in this box? Where does 9 go in this box? And the answer is, I don't care. I don't care, because I know that wherever 9 goes in that box, it breaks its thermometer. Because there are cells above the 9. So whichever one of these towers has a 9 in it, it is a broken thermometer. And that means we've found, roughly, the 2 broken thermometers. It's got to be one of these and one of these, which means that this is a real thermometer and all of these are real thermometers. So if this is a real thermometer and it's 7 cells long, we can do some pencil marking in of correct digits. These are real, because this is a real thermometer. Now, can we go further than that? If we know... Well, the 8 is also a problem in this box, because there's more than one cell on each of these thermometers. So wherever even if I try and put the 8 here, which is the best I could do, 9, what would go in here? Nothing. So 8 is also... so 8 and 9 must be in the same tower, I think, because otherwise I'll have more than one of these towers will be a broken thermometer. And I know exactly one of these towers is a broken thermometer because one of these is a broken thermometer and I only need 2. So the 8 and the 9 in this box are in the same... column. Now, so the 8 and the 9 are in the same column and they are broken, and that means they are in a column that has a correct sum. So surely they can't be in this one. If these were 8 and 9, that would be 17. Those 5 squares would have to add up to 14. That's not possible. So this one is not broken. If this one... Oh, that one's got... Oh, well, no, actually, no, that one's interesting as well. If this one is a broken thermometer and a correct total, it would have to be the 8 and the 9, which add up to 17, and then 4 cells, which add up to 10. So we would actually know the composition of this tower. Now, if this one was 8 and 9, we'd have 3 cells adding to 17. So there is a lot more latitude. This is a fascinating thought, though, isn't it? That the fact that you have to put 9 in one of these squares, and therefore that breaks the thermometer. And hang on. Now we also know, of course, these are all correct thermometers. So, right. This box is important then. Because if these thermometers are all correct, where does the 1 go in box 7? It must go in one of those 3 squares because it must be at the bottom of its correct thermometer. But that... Oh, good grief. Right, so this puzzle is... the logic in this puzzle is so unusual. So, if 1 is not at the bottom of a thermometer in box 8, and we know it's not at the bottom of a thermometer, then 1 must be on the broken thermometer. So 1, 8 and 9 are on the broken thermometer. And this is beautiful. This is such beautiful setting, because now this one can't be 189, can it? If that's 189, that's 18. I need those 2 squares to add up to 17, because I know in the broken thermometer you can't break the thermometer and break the total. So the 34 total would have to be correct. Those 2 would have to be 7 and 9, which would repeat the 9 in the column. And although these thermometers and these towers are all faulty, or a lot of them are faulty, they aren't faulty in the way that you can repeat digits in them. So this, I think, has to be the broken thermometer. This one can't be broken because you would break the total. 189, I mean, we've already done this logic. You can't make 4 squares add up to 13 without repeating a 1. So these 3 squares are 1, 8 and 9. I've still not got a digit in the grid. And these 3 squares have got to add up to 9 in order to make my 27 work. So they must be 2, 3 and 4. It's the only way of getting to 9 without using a 1. So this is broken. So this must be real. That can't be a 1. Now, this one is restricted then, because if this is a real thermometer and it's of length 7, I don't care about the total. I already know this square has to be a 1, 2 or a 3, because if I try 4 here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, broken. So this can't be a 1 because of the 1s here. So this thermometer is heavily constrained. So we can actually pencil in just 2 options for each of the cells along that thermometer. Okay. Well, and let's repeat that trick here, because this is useful actually. I think I'm going to get a digit in the grid, because what can this square be? This is a 5-cell thermometer, so this must be at most a 5. If it's 6, 7, 8, 9, broken. So this is at most a 5, and it can't be a 1. So this has to be a 2, 3, 4 or 5, which creates a quadruple on 2, 3, 4 and 5 in box 8. So these 2 squares have to be 6 and 7, and they are on a thermometer that is correct. So the 6 must be below the 7. And it's a correct thermometer. So that must be an 8 and a 9. That's the only way of completing the thermometer. No, this square now can't be 8. Look, so that's 7. Which, oh, now we are cooking with gas. We get all those as well. 2, 3, 4 here gives us a 5. And this must be a 1 to complete that box. And finally, we're starting to get some traction. Now look at this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That eliminates, well, it eliminates the central option for this thermometer, which is perhaps the least helpful. So these thermometers are all correct. Oh, bother, I could have got this ages ago. Once you know these thermometers are correct, where does the 9 go in this one? Well, it can't go there because there would have to be a number above a 9. So the only place 9 can go is there. So this total is broken for sure, because obviously you can't make those two squares add up to 2 without repeating 1. So maybe I should start to keep track of, oh, because that total's broken, that adds to 35. And this total is broken. Sorry, it's just doing the arithmetic in my head, but 18 plus 9 is 27, plus 8 or 9 is definitely greater than 31. So this, actually, I'm going to put some shading at the top. We'll use grey. Grey at the top of a column means that that tower has the wrong total. So this has the wrong total, this has the wrong total, this has the wrong total. One of these we know has the wrong total. So I've only got to find one more that has the wrong total, and that will be the 5 columns with that are faulty in terms of their... Oh, well, it's this one. This is faulty, because this square can't be a 1 or a 2 from the row. So that square's got to be a 3 at most, and once this square is a 3, there's still another cell above it, so this total is wrong. Now that is massive, surely, because now if this is incorrect and becomes... I now know the approximate locations of all 5 faulty towers. One of those two being the other one. That means this one, I knew this one was correct anyway. And these two are correct. I'll use red to show me correct. So these two have to be... Oh, well, this one's forced. There's only one way you can make 7 cells add up to 28. In fact, this was a correct thermometer as well. So not only do I know the composition of this column, the only way of making 7 cells add to 28 is using the numbers 1 to 7 inclusive. So, but not only do I know that, I also know the order here, because this is a correct thermometer, because the broken thermometers are this one and one of these two. So this has to be, I think I'm just going to get all the digits in it. 5, 6, and that's 7. This is an 8, 9 pair at the top of the column. So this can't be 4. That, no, okay. Don't know if we can take that any further. But this thermometer is also a perfect thermometer, because this has a correct total and we know the thermometer is correct. So it adds to 30. So this is 6, 7, 8 and 9. Oh, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the only way of making 4 cells add to 30. And it's the only way of making them add to 30 in an ascending order. So those two squares have got to be 4 and 5. There's a 5 here, so that's 5, that's 4. This square's a 1, because it can't be an 8 or a 9. So I feel like we've made massive progress now. Yeah, we have. We've made huge progress. Why have we made huge progress? Well, one of these thermometers, one of these towers is a correct thermometer. but we can't put a 1 or a 2 at the bottom of either of these columns. So one of these columns has to have a minimum of a 3 at the bottom of it. Well, 3 won't work in this thermometer. Forget the total. You can't put a 3 here if it's a correct thermometer. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, broken. This is not a 3. So the only way one of these thermometers can exist and be a thermometer is with a 3 here. And of course, a 3 there forces the whole of the rest of the thermometer. So this is the correct thermometer and a broken total, which means this will be a 3 because this will have to have a correct total. These two squares have got to be 1 and 2. And we can fill in this column however we want because it is not in order. So we're almost at the point now where this is going to become a Sudoku, aren't we? No, that has to be a thermometer. Although the total is wrong here, this has to increase. So these two squares have got to be 2 and 6. These are 1, 8 and 9. These are 7, 8, 9. That can't be 7 because of the 7 here. And this is a thermometer. In fact, where does 7 go? Looking at just where does 7 go in this box, it can only go there. And this is a thermometer that has to work. And the total, because the total's wrong. So this can't be a 9. That's an 8. This has to be bigger than an 8, so that's a 9. That means this is a 1. The 8 and the 9 there get disambiguated. And I think we're at the stage where we've done all of the Fawlty towers. Now we just have to do the Sudoku. So these squares are 2, 3 and 4. That's not 3. These are 5, 6 and 7. That's not 7. And these are 1, 8 and 9. Which means there's a 1 in one of those two squares because we've locked the ones into column, into row 1 and 2 in column 6 and column 9. This square's a naked single. Oh, Mark would be proud of me for spotting that quickly. But it is. Look, we've got 1, 3, 7 in the column, and 1, 3 and 7 are not appearing in the 5 cells in the row. So we know there's a naked single, and by a process of elimination it's a 2. So that gives us a few more digits. That 2 gives us the 3 here. These have got to be 1 and 7. There's a 7 there. So this one is 1. This one is 7. Those squares there have got to be 1, 2, 3 and 8. So this is a 1, 8 pair, and there's an 8 here. So we get that one, that one. These are 2 and 3. We don't get those, but we do get the 4 in the middle. This has got to be 5 and 9, which we can do. So this has got to be 3 and 4, which we can do as well from the 3 up here. And I think we're going to finish this puzzle, unless I make a mistake, or I have made a mistake. But so far it does seem to be solving, doesn't it? These have got to be 4 and 6. The 9 here fixes that this is an 8. That fixes the 5. That fixes the 8. This 8 fixes the 8 and the 9 over there. That fixes the 1 and the 9. The 1 and the 2. This can't be a 2, therefore. Three, 4, 5 and 6. So that square's a 3 or a 6 just by Sudoku. That can't be a 5. I must be close to solving it. 2, 3, 4 and 5 into this column. 1, so 1 must be here. These squares are 2, 3, 4 or 5. So 5 can't go there, 2 can't go there, 3 can't go there. It's got to be 2 or 6. I think I have used all the constraints. Maybe I haven't. Maybe that's what what would give me a quick answer? Oh no, the 7 here, that's what fixes it. 6 here, 4, 6 there, 5, 7. This can't be that fixes the 2 and the 3. That gives me the 6 here. We can eliminate 2 from both of those squares. This one has to be a 3. Therefore, that's a 2, 4, 3. This is a 5, and hopefully that should be a 4. And that is what I would submit, and that is correct. Oh my goodness, that is a beautiful puzzle. The logic at the start of that is completely fresh. Peter, I loved it. I hope John Cleese loved it as well, because he certainly should. That is a wonderful, wonderful Sudoku puzzle. Let me know in the comments how you got on with it, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.